if I do take those and I add the columns, what I'm hoping happens is that the same variable goes away. And if I do that, I've got 4x minus 4x. So 4x minus 4x is nothing. I've got 4y plus negative 5y, so that's negative y. 4z plus z is 5z. Negative 4 plus 15 is 11. So now you'll notice that both of the equations that are 2's have two variables. They have the same variables. And that's what we want to happen. Now, since that's happened, I'm just going to go ahead and take this equation and I'm going to write it right underneath the other one. Now I've got two equations and two variables. Now I've got the kind of that normal system of equations we were working on last week. So now I'm going to try to see if I can combine those and eliminate a variable. And if you notice, I've got negative y and y. If I take negative y plus y, that gives me nothing. So I've got nothing there. 5z plus z, that's 6z's. 11 plus 1 is 12. So I've gone from 3 to 2 to 1, and now I can solve. So 6 times what is 12? 6 times 2 is 12. So my z value now I know is equal to 2. So now that I know the z value, I can take and plug that into that equation. So y plus 2 equals 1. Subtract 2. Y equals negative 1. There's my y value. Now I know my y and I know my z. Because I know my y and my z, I can plug them into either of those two equations. I don't want to deal with the negative 4x. I just want to deal with the 4x. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this top equation. And I'll write that down here. So that's 4x plus 4y. Well, my y is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to substitute my y with a negative 1. Plus 4z. I know my z value is 2. And that has to equal negative 4. Simplify. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, so that's 4x minus 4. 4 times 2 is 8. That's got to equal negative 4. Negative 4 and 8 are like terms. So 4x plus 4 equals negative 4. Now I'm solving an equation. Subtract 4 from both sides. 4x equals negative 8. And again, I'm just asking myself the question, 4 times what is negative 8? Well, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. If you don't like to ask yourself that question, just divide both sides by 4. And you get x is equal to negative 2. So our solution in alphabetical order, x is negative 2, y is negative 1, z is 2. That's your solution to that system of 3 variable equations. It's not easy stuff. This is hard. And there's actually another step to this that we're not going to do where they're all 3. And all 3 missing. And those get even more difficult. Okay? So let's look at another one. Any questions with that one? Everybody have time to write that one down? That wants to write it down? Or take a picture of it? Those of you that have photographic memories, just blink your eyes once. You think that's how it works? If you have a photographic memory, you have to blink to take the picture? It just happens. How cool would that be? I read a book. I don't remember who. Amos Decker is the character in the book, but he's got this photographic memory, and he likens it to like a DVD player, if you know what a DVD player is. Or he can just kind of hit the rewind, and it goes through the frames in his brain, and he can stop it where he wants to stop it and see exactly what's there. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, next one. So 2x plus 5y plus 5z equals 9. He not only has that, you can listen to me as you're writing it down. I don't need to say it. But he also has what's called synesthesia. It's a character in a book, but it's a real thing. Synesthesia is where you see numbers as colors.
What?
So like 737, he would see as like purple and green or something like that. Yeah, he sees numbers as colors and situations as colors. So if he sees death, he sees this really bright blue. He got hit. He was a football player and got hit. Obviously it's a fictional character, but it's pretty cool. All right, so if we look at this one, first thing I'm noticing. First thing I'm noticing is that my second equation is the one that has two variables. So I'm going to ignore it to start out with. I'm just going to take and write the other two equations on top of each other. So 2x plus 5y plus 5z equals 9. And then my other one is 5x plus y minus 5z equals -1. Now, with any luck, and you'll have all the luck in the world with these today, if I combine these now, if I add up my columns, 2x plus 5x is 7x. 5y plus y is 6y. 5z minus 5z, that goes away. And then 9 plus -1 is 8. Now you'll notice that equation that I've created is also the same, has the same variables as the one that we started out with that we've been ignoring. So now we're going to take that one that we ignored, and we're just going to go ahead and write it right underneath it. So that's -7x minus 3y equals -11. Now we have two equations with two unknowns. So now we want to see if we can eliminate one of the unknowns. And if we go down the columns, 7x minus 7x is nothing. 6y minus 3y is 3y. 8 minus 11 is -3. 3 times what is -3? -1. So my y value is -1. So now that I have my y value, I'm going to go ahead and plug it into one of the equations that has two missing variables. I picked the 7x because I don't want to deal with -7x. So I rewrite it. 7x plus 6. My y value is -1. Simplify. That's 7x minus 6 equals 8. Get rid of any addition or subtraction to my variable. So I have 6 being subtracted, so I'm going to add 6's to both sides. So that's 7x equals 14. 7 times what is 14? 2. So I've got my y value. I've got my x value. The last thing I have to find is my z value. And for ease of purposes, I'm going to put it in that one right there because it's on the bottom. It's easier to get to. I know my x value is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. I know my y value is -1. 10 minus 1 is 9. I'm just doing steps as I go along. I've got minus 5z. You just kind of keep writing that one with me. And it's got to equal -1. Again, if you didn't want to do it like I did it, you get the same answer. Subtract 9 from both sides. -5z equals -10. -5 times what is -10? 2. We all know the alphabet. X is 2, y is -1, z is 2. That's our solution. And the nice thing about these is you can always check them to see if you're right. If we plug that into that top one, 2, 4, yep. 4 minus 5 plus 10 is 9. So it works. That's your solution. Isn't math fun?
Yeah.
Yes. Especially when it gets more complicated. Adding and subtracting, solving equations is horrible. But when you get something that's complex like this, it makes it much more fun. But you're still just solving equations. It's just more fun this way. Sorry, my opinion. And my opinion is the only one that matters, so. All right, work with the person beside you, or around you, or by yourself, I don't care. See if you can find the value of x, y, and z for that one. Go. It was a z up here. Clearly it was a z right there. We're going to press -3 is 9. I don't know my y value. So it's plus 2y. My z value is 1. 5 times 1 is 5. That has to equal 20. Combine like terms. 9 plus 5 is 14. So 2y plus 14 equals 20. 2y equals 6. Subtracting 14. 20 minus 6. 20 minus 14 is 6. 2 times what is 6? 3. So your solution, x, y, z. -3, 3, and 1. -12 minus 6 plus 5. It works. I plug it in the first one, you get 12 minus 6 plus 5. It works. Hey. Done. How are we doing? So far, okay? I'm getting somewhere. That's good. All right, the next one we're going to look at. Next one we're going to look at is going to come directly out of your assignment. So if you want to open up your assignment, if you write on the assignment, I'm not going to print it. Cancel. We are going to do number 1 together out of your assignment. You are only going to do the odds today. And again, it's one of these long sheets that looks like there's like 8,000 problems, but the left-hand side and the right-hand side are the same thing. When Mrs. Ryan makes these up, she makes them up to, she actually prints things out. So if you have Ryan next semester, you get stuff printed out for you. I don't print stuff out. I'm cheap. Yes, they're tracking us this year. So you feel guilty when they show you, I've spent $10.36 on copies this year.
Rupert's already at like $40.
Ryan's probably at like $275. Okay, she's probably not that high yet. But like 2 years ago, Reinen was leading the district in copiers. This was before they tracked us, kind of. But now now we know, so you can feel guilty. All right, so let's look at this one.
How could I do it?
It's the smart thing to do, honestly. Right. It's a lot of people. So if we look at that first one, the first one's got two variables, so I'm going to ignore it for just a second. Now, I'm going to be ultra lazy with this one because I've got right on top of each other already. I've got my three variable ones. They're on top of each other already, so I'm not going to rewrite them. There's no sense for me to do it because it's already done for me. So negative 2x plus 5x, that's 3x. Negative 4y minus 2y, that's negative 6y. My z's go away. 5 plus 4 is 9. So now I've got the same thing again. My first equation is xy in a number. So now I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite the first equation right underneath it. So you get negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 7. And I just rewrote the one. That's all I did. 3x minus 3x, nothing. Negative 6y, that's negative y equals 2. So y equals negative 2. Did I do something wrong? May have spoke really fast, but I think I got it right. So I know my y value. So because I know my y value, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug it into that one. So 3x minus 6 times negative 2 equals 9. 3x plus 12. I'm going to subtract 12, and I'm going to do it correct during this hour. Last hour I said 9 minus 12 was 3, when in fact it is negative 3. So x is equal to negative 1. So I said I did it last hour. I messed it up last hour. I had x was equal to 1. And then I plugged that in and I got my z value. The only way I would have known that if I was right or wrong was checking it. Okay. Now, did I check it? No, because another student noticed that I messed it up. Okay. But it's always a good idea to check them to make sure you're right. You can always do that. All right, now we know that and that, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this one right here. Again, I'm only doing it because the x is positive, it's 5 is positive. So let's change colors here again. Let's go with a deep orange.
How many of these kind of questions are going to be on the test?
17,
Of these,
like 1,
I was like, I don't know, I could do
maybe
one.
2.
Maybe 2? Oh, okay.
5 times negative 1 minus 2 times negative 2 minus 5z equals 4. I really did not leave enough space to do this. That's negative 5. That's negative 5 plus 4 minus 5z equals 4. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. So negative 1 minus 5z, add 1. Negative 5z equals 5, z equals negative 1. So our solution, negative 1, negative 2, negative 1. Ta-da! It works. If I plug it into that first one, that's negative 5 plus 4 plus 5. Yep, it works. Okay. So that's what you're going to work on today. You are only going to do the odds today, so 3, 5, and 7 are the only additional ones that you need to do. I will also say that there are a lot of you that have a lot to do from this week that you have not done. Okay? Your test in here is next Wednesday. We will spend Monday reviewing. Tuesday I will not be here. We have the Big 9 championships on Tuesday, so I will not be here.